Shri Gurudev ki jai. Nityal Upavishtam Vishnupara Shatashmad Shri Bhaktivedanta Vaman Gosai Maharaj ki jai. Nityal Upavishtam Vishnupara Shatashmad Bhaktivedanta Swami Maharaj Shri Prabhupada ki jai. Nityal Upavishtam Vishnupara Shatashmad Bhakti Pragyan Keshav Gosai Maharaj ki jai. Nityal Upavishtam Vishnupara Shatashmad Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Gosai Prabhupada ki jai. Nityal Pravishta Mahabhagavat Shri Gopsharas Babaji Maharaj ki jai. Nityal Pravishta Shri Satchidananda Bhakti Vinod Thakur ki jai. Nityal Pravishta Vaishnav Sarvabhauma Shri Jagannath Das Babaji Maharaj ki jai. Shri Rupanu Gauriya Guru Varga ki jai. Shri Rup Sanatan Bhatta Raghunath Shri Jeev Gopal Bhattadash Raghunath Shar Gosai Prabhu ki jai. Shri Sarup Damodar Rai Ramanandari Shri Gopal Shada Vrinda ki jai. नाम अक्षय श्री हरिदास ठाकुर की जय। प्रेम से कहो श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासरी गौर भक्त वृंद की जय। श्री क्षेत्र मंडल गौर मंडल व्रज मंडल मथुर वृंदावन धाम की जय। सर्व अभिष्ट विरत गिरिराज महाराज की जय। श्री राधा कुंड श्याम कुंड की जय। श्री यमुना देवी गंगा देवी की जय। श्री तुलसी महारानी वृंद देवी की जय। श्री भक्ति देवी की जय। श्री पूर्णमासी योगमाया की जय। Shri Gopeshwar Mahadev ki jai. Today is what? It's the appearance day of, disappearance day of Madhvacharya. So, Shri Madhvacharya ki jai. Tadiya Shubha Tirubhav Titi ki jai. Grantaraj Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam ki jai. Anantakoti Vaishnava Vrinda ki jai. Samagata Gaur Bhakta Vrinda ki jai. Shinitai Gaur Premanande Hari Hari Bo. 1 second. Om Jnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Namo Om Vishnu Padaya Radhikaya Priyatmane Shri Śrīmad Bhakti Vedanta Narayaniti Namine. Namo Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Śrīmate Bhakti Vedanta Swaminiti Namine. Nam Vanchakalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya eva cha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Namo Mahavadanyaya Krishna Prema Pradayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namne Gauratishe Namaha. Guruve Gaurachandraya Radhikaya Tadalai Krishnaya Krishna Bhaktaya Tarbhaktaya Namo Namaha. Yang pravrajantam anupetam apeta kritam dvaipayano virahakatara ajuhava putreti tanmayataya taravo bhinedu stang sarva bhuta hridaya munimanatosmi narayanam namaskritam narang chaiva narottamam devim saraswatim vyasam tato jayam udirayet. Shrinvatang Svakatha Krishna Punya Shravana Kirtana Hridantasto Hyabhadrani Vidhunoti Suhrit Satang Nashta Prayeshvabhadreshu Nityang Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavatyuttamashke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtiki Tavai Vasmi Na Jivami Tvaya Vina Iti Vigyaya Radhe Tvam Nayamang Charanantikam Bhaktya Vihina Aparada Lakshay Kshiptashtakama Ditarangamadhe Kripamai Tvam Sharanam Prapanna Vrinde Namaste Charanayravindam Bhaja Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasari Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Okay. Sorry, let's see. So I've been multitasking this morning. Dandavat Pranam Sakargaraji, Madhavi Didi, Rup Manjari Didi, Raseshwari Mataji, Champak Didi, Ganga Didi, and Indira Mataji. Hari Bol, everybody. So let's see. Let's go over what we read yesterday. I'm just going to read from here. Lord Shiva's prayers to Lord Madhusudan. Hearing the pastimes of Mohinī-mūrti and desiring to see that form, Lord Shiva, along with Uma and other companions, went to the abode of Lord Madhusudan. After being welcomed by the Lord, Shiva duly worshipped him and smilingly spoke. So I'm just going to read from here. The topics of what Lord Shiva, Shiva's prayers were the Supreme Controller, how the Lord is the Supreme Inexhaustible. He spoke about the pure devotees, how the Lord is supremely independent, the Supreme Absolute, philosophers' opinions, Supreme Unknowable, Supreme Knower. Actually, no, I'll read it just here. Supreme Controller, O all gods, O all-pervading Lord, O Master of the universe, O Lord who is the universe. You are the cause, the supersoul, the giver of consciousness of everything, and the supreme controller of all. Lord Viṣṇu might ask Shiva, you may say that I am the material. What? Okay, you may say that I am the material of the universe, but the universe has a beginning, is temporary and unconscious. Am I also temporary and unconscious? So in answer to that, Shiva's prayer is here. The Supreme Inexhaustible. The beginning, annihilation, and maintenance of this universe, the false ego and everything else comes from you, the inexhaustible and changeless Lord. But you have no beginning, middle, or ends. You are the supreme spiritual absolute truth. Note. From the Lord, who is the absolute indestructible Brahman, visible things like birth, death, and life within this universe arises, and invisible things like the conception of I and mine arise. Link to the next verse. Lord Shiva next wanted to glorify Lord Viṣṇu as supremely independent. That is, he doesn't depend on anyone to fulfill his desires. Even his devotees are also free from material desires. The four qualities of pure devotees. They engage constantly in the service of your lotus feet. The devotees desire to achieve the highest goal in life, ultimate auspiciousness, bhakti. The devotees are completely free from all material desires for sense gratification. And the devotees give up material attachment in this and the next life. Just as the devotees are free from desires, the Supreme Lord is also completely free from desires and is not dependent on anyone's service. You are the Supreme Brahman, complete, immortal, free from the material modes and lamentation. You are full of transcendental bliss. You are changeless, separate from everything, yet you are everything. You are the cause of this cosmos, its creation, maintenance, and annihilation. You are the supersoul directing everyone. Everyone depends on you for attaining the results of their activities, but you are fully independent. Supreme Absolute, cause and effect are the same. You alone are the cause and the effect. Although you appear to be two, you are the absolute one. Just as a golden ornament and gold in a mine are non-different, there is no between cause and effect. That is, you and the universe are non-different. Only because of ignorance do people concoct differences and dualities. You are beyond material modes, and thus the cosmos, dependent on you, is an effect of your qualities. Note: Achinta Bheda Bheda Tattva, the simultaneous oneness and difference between the Supreme Lord and this universe, manifestation of his energies, is described in the above two verses. The body is material, Maya Shakti, and the soul is spiritual, Tatashta Shakti. Both are the energies of the Supreme Energetic Lord. Energy and the energetic are not different. Ultimately, the Supreme Lord is everything, yet he is separate from everything. Although Achinta Bheda Bheda Tattva is the right understanding about the Supreme Lord, different philosophies understand him in different ways, as described in the next verse. So, there are different philosophers. There are the Vedantists, who regard the Supreme Lord as impersonal Brahman, the Mimamsa philosophers, who regard the Lord as religion, the Sankhya philosophers, who regard the Lord as the transcendental person beyond Prakriti and Purush and the controller of the demigods. And there are the Pancharatra followers, who regard the Lord as a person endowed with the Navashaktis, that's Vimala, Utkarshini, Gyan, Kriya, Yoga, Pravi, Satya, Ishana, and Anugraha. And the Patanjala philosophers, who regard the Supreme Independent Lord with no equal or superior. So they regard the Lord as being supremely independent with no equal or superior. One second. Of all these philosophers, there's a footnote here. Of all these philosophers, the Pancharatras are accepted by the Supreme Lord. Follow Pancharatraki Vidhi under the guidance of a spiritual master can understand the absolute truth. If one practices bhakti yoga by taking shelter of Lord Krishna, simply by hearing him speak about himself, one can know everything, samagram, about him. Actually, I remember in Madhurika Dambini, it talks about the Anugraha Shakti. It talks about all of these, actually. Vimala, Utkarshini, Gyan, Kriya, Yoga, Pravi, Satya, Ishana, and Anugraha. Okay, so these philosophers who claim that they know about the Lord actually do not know him, because he is the supreme unknowable. Neither I, nor long-lived Brahma, nor the great sages headed by Marichi can understand what your creation, the universe, is, although we are born of the mode of goodness. O Lord, our minds are bewildered by your illusory energy. If this is so, how can the demons and human beings who are in the base modes of passion and ignorance know you? Then who knows the Supreme Lord? He himself. O Lord, you know everything about this creation, its beginning, maintenance, and annihilation. You know all the activities of living entities by which they are either entangled or liberated. As the air enters the vast sky and also enters the bodies of all moving and non-moving entities, you are present everywhere, and therefore you are the knower of all. Having glorified Lord Viṣṇu in various ways, Lord Śiva mentions the purpose of his visit. What verse did we read up to yesterday? Sorry, guys, I'm getting distracted. I'm just in the middle of... what verse did we read up to? Okay, 18. Okay. Having glorified... Okay, so then Shiva requested Lord Viṣṇu, I have seen all your incarnations. Now I wish to see your form as a beautiful woman, Mohinī-mūrti. We have come here desiring to see that form of your lordship. Lord Viṣṇu as Mohinī-mūrti bewilders Lord Shiva. Lord Viṣṇu smiled with gravity and replied to Shiva with mysterious words. And there's a note, the gravity of and smile. Lord Viṣṇu is gravely thinking of how to captivate Shiva, who was so self-controlled that even the illusory material energy represented by Durga could not captivate his mind. But Vishnu, being Yogeshwar, the Lord of all mystic power, would assume a form that could captivate Shiva. Lord Vishnu said, I assumed that form as a beautiful woman to bewilder the demons and act in the interest of the demigods. O best of demigods, as you had desired, I shall reveal to you that form which gives rise to lust, kaminam bahumantavyam, and is most appreciated by lusty people. Okay, and there's two notes here. The form of Mohinī-mūrti was bewildering to the demons, and not to the demigods. People with a demoniac mentality are bewildered by the external beauty of a woman, but those who are advanced in Krishna consciousness, or even those in goodness, like the demigods, are not. Joking affair. Lord Shiva knew that he could not be agitated by any so-called beautiful woman. He thought, the demigods are not agitated. What to speak of me, the best of all demigods? Lord Viṣṇu knew that Shiva was not an ordinary person and cannot be bewildered even by the most beautiful woman. So Viṣṇu had to think twice about what kind of beautiful form would bewilder Shiva. By his words, Lord Viṣṇu indicated to Shiva, this form, however, it cannot produce lust in you, who are the enemy of lust. But if you are curious, then please see it. This desire of yours, who are the conqueror of lust and a great yogi, will cause you to fall into a whirlpool of lust. Don't blame me. So then Lord Viṣṇu disappeared after saying this, and Lord Shiva remains there with Uma, looking for him all around. All right, so let's go there. What time? Oh God, I think I need to close. Oh God, sorry guys, it's too difficult for me to not look. I think this is what's going to be the thumbnail for part 3 of the documentary. We just changed the title. We had a different title before. Okay. Tato dadarsho pavane varastriyam vichitra pushparuna palavadrume vikridatim kandukali laya lasad tukula paryasta nitambame kalam. Thereafter, in a nice forest nearby, full of trees with reddish pink leaves and varieties of flowers, Lord Shiva saw a beautiful woman playing with a ball. Her hips were covered with a shiny sari and ornamented with a belt. Avartanodvartana kampita stana prakrishta haroru bharai pade pade prabhajyamanam iva madhyataschchalat pada pravalam nayating tatastata. Because the ball was falling down and bouncing up, as she played with it, her breasts trembled, and because of the weight of those breasts and her heavy flower garlands, her waist appeared to be all but breaking at every step. As her 2 soft feet, which were reddish like coral, moved here and there. Oh, sorry. Anyways, I read that wrong. Her to be all but breaking at every step, as her 2 soft feet, which were reddish like coral, moved here and there. Dikshu Brahmatkan Dukachapalar Brisham Prodvignatara Lochanam Swakarna Vibrajita Kundalo Lasat Kapola Nila Laka Manditananam. The woman's face was decorated by broad, beautiful, restless eyes, which moved as the ball bounced here and there from her hand. The 2 brilliant earrings on her ears decorated her shining cheeks like bluish reflections, and the hairs scattered on her face made even her and made sorry, and the hairs scattered on her face made her even more beautiful to see. Shlatadukulam kabarim chavichutang sanahyatim vama karena valguna vinignatim anya karena kandukam vimohayatim jagaratmamayaya. As she played with the ball, the sari covering her body became loose, and her hair scattered. She tried to bind her hair with her beautiful left hand, and at the same time, she played with the ball by striking it with her right hand. This was so attractive that the Supreme Lord, by his internal potency, in this way captivated everyone. Purport. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. In Bhagavad Gita 7:14, it is said, Daivi Hiesha Gunamai Mama Maya Durataya. The externality of the Supreme Personality of Godhead is extremely strong. Indeed, everyone is fully captivated by her activities. Lord Shambhu, Shiva, not to be captivated by the external potency, but because Lord Viṣṇu wanted to captivate him also, he exhibited his internal potency to act the way that his external potency acts to captivate ordinary living entities. Lord Viṣṇu can captivate anyone, even such a strong personality as Lord Shambhu. I'm confused. Why does it say him capitalized? Lord Shambhu was not to be captivated by the external potency, but because Lord Viṣṇu wanted to captivate him, him's referring. Yeah, him is referring to Lord Shiva, and Lord Shiva isn't capitalized. Anyways. Tam vikshadeva iti kandukalilaya vridasvuta smita visrishta katakshamushta stri prekshana pratisamikshana vivalatma natmanam atika uman saganangscha veda. While Lord Shiva observes the beautiful woman playing with the ball, she sometimes glanced at him and slightly smiled in bashfulness. As he looked at the beautiful woman and she watched him, he forgot both himself and Uma, his most beautiful wife, as well as his associates nearby. Purport. The material bondage of this world is that a beautiful woman can captivate a handsome man, and that a handsome man can captivate a beautiful woman. Such are the affairs that began when Lord Shiva observes the beautiful girl Paul. In such activities, the influence of Cupid is very prominent. As both parties move their eyebrows and glance at one another, their lusty desires increase more and more. Such reciprocations of lusty desire took place between Lord Shiva and the beautiful woman, even though Uma and Lord Shiva's associates were by Lord Shiva's side. Such is the attraction between man and woman in the material world. Lord Shiva was supposed to be above all this attraction, but he was victimized by the captivating power of Lord Viṣṇu. Rishabhdev thus explains the nature of lusty attraction. Pungsastriya mituni bhavin itam tayor mito hridaya grante mahu ato griha kshetra sutapta vitar janasya moho yam ahang mameti. The attraction between male and female is the basic principle of material existence. On the basis of this misconception, which ties together the hearts of the male and female, one becomes attracted to his home, property, children, relatives, and wealth. In this way, one increases life's illusions and thinks in terms of I and mine. Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam 5:5-8. When a man and woman exchange feelings of lust, both of them are victimized, and thus they are bound to this material world in various ways. Tasya karagrat satukanduko yada gato vidurang tamanu vrajat striya vasa sasutram lagumaruta harad bhavasya devasya kilanupashyatah. When the ball leaped from her hand and fell at a distance, the woman began to follow it. But as Lord Shiva observed these activities, a breeze suddenly blew away the fine dress and the belt that evam taruchira pang evam tang ruchira pangungim darshaniya manoramam drishtva tasyang manaschakre vishajayantyam bhavakila vishajantyam bhavakila. Sorry. Thus Lord Shiva saw the woman, every part of whose body was beautifully formed, and the beautiful woman also looked at him. Therefore, thinking that she was attracted to him, Lord Shiva became very much attracted to her. Purport. Lord Shiva was observing every part of the woman's body, and she was also glancing at him with restless eyes. Thus, Shiva thought that she was also attracted to him, and now he wanted to touch her. Taya paharita vijnanas takrita smaravivala bhavanya apipashyantya gata hristat padangyayo. Lord Shiva, his good sense taken away by the woman because of lusty desires to enjoy with her, became so mad for her that even in the presence of Bhavani, he did not hesitate to approach her. Satam ayantam alokya vivastra vredita brisham niliya manavriksheshu asanti nanvatishtata. The beautiful woman was already naked, and when she saw Lord Shiva coming toward her, she became extremely bashful. She kept smiling, but she hid herself among the trees and did not stand in one place. Tam anvagachar bhagavan vapramushitendriya kamasya cha vasham nitta karenum eva yuttapa. His senses being agitated, Lord Shiva, victimized by lusty desires, began to follow her, just as a lusty elephant follows a she-elephant. Sonuvrajyati vegena grihitva nichatim striyam keshabanda upaniya bahubhyam parishashvaje. After following her with great speed, Lord Shiva caught her by the braid of her hair and dragged her near him. Yikes. Although she was unwilling, he embraced her with his arms. That's not very gentlemanly. One second. Sopagura Bhagavata Karina Karini Yatha Itastata Prasarpanti Viprakirna Shiroruha Atmanam Mochayitvanga Surarshaba Pujantarat Pradravat Sapritu Shroni Maya Deva Vinirmita. Being embraced by Lord Shiva like a female elephant embraced by a male, the woman, whose hair was scattered, swirled like a snake. O king, this woman, who had large, high hips, was a woman of Yoga Maya presented by the Supreme Personality of Godhead. She released herself somehow or other from the fond embrace of Lord Shiva's arms and ran away. Tasyaso padaving rudro Vishnur Adbhuta Karmana Pratyapadyata Kamena Vairineva Vinirjita. As if harassed by an enemy in the form of lusty desires, Lord Shiva followed the path of Lord Viṣṇu, who acts very wonderfully and who had taken the form of Mohinī. Purport. Lord Shiva cannot be victimized by Maya. Therefore, it is to be understood that Lord Shiva was being thus harassed by Lord Viṣṇu's internal potency. Lord Viṣṇu can perform many wonderful activities through his various potencies. Parasya Shaktir Vividaiva Shriyate Sabhaviki Jnana Bala Kriyacha. Svetashvatar Upanishad 6.8. The Supreme Lord has various potencies by which he can act very efficiently. To do anything expertly, he doesn't even need to contemplate. Since Lord Shiva was being harassed by the woman, it is to be understood that this was being done not by a woman, but by Lord Viṣṇu himself. Tasyanu tavatoretash chaskanda mogaretasa shushmino yutapasyeva vasitam anudhavata. Just as a maddened bull elephant follows a female elephant who is able to conceive pregnancy, Lord Shiva followed the beautiful woman and discharged semen, even though his discharge of semen never goes in vain. Yatra yatra patan mahyam retastasya mahatmana tani rupasya hemnascha kshetranya mahipate. O king, wheresoever on the surface of the globe fell the semen of the great personality of Lord Shiva, mines of gold and silver later appeared. Purport. Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur comments that those who seek gold and silver can worship Lord Shiva for material opulences. Lord Shiva lives under a bale tree and does not even construct a house in which to dwell. But although he was apparently poverty-stricken, his devotees are sometimes opulently endowed with large quantities of silver and gold. Parikshit Maharaj later asks about this, and Shukadev Goswami replies. Sasu shaileshu vaneshu pavaneshu yatra kva chasandrishayas tatra sannihito hara. Following Mohinī, Lord Shiva went everywhere, near the shores of the rivers and lakes, near the mountains, near the forests, near the gardens, and wherever there lived great sages. Purport. Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur remarks that Mohinī-mūrti dragged Lord Shiva to so many places, especially to where the great sages lived, to instruct the sages that their Lord Shiva had become mad for a beautiful woman. Thus, although they were all great sages and saintly persons, they should not think themselves free, but should remain extremely cautious about beautiful women. No one should think himself liberated in the presence of a beautiful woman. The Shastras enjoin, Matra swasra suhitra va naviviktasano bhavet balavan indriya gramo vidvangsam apikarshati. One should not stay in a solitary place with a woman, even if she be his mother, sister, or daughter, for the senses are so uncontrollably powerful that in the presence of a woman one may become agitated, even if he is very learned and advanced. Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam 9:19-17. Skannereta sopashya ratmanam deva mayaya jari kritam nripa shreshta sanya kashmalat. O Maharaj Parikshit, best of kings, when Lord Shiva had fully discharged semen, he could see how he himself had been victimized by the illusion created by the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Thus he himself from any further Maya. Purport. Once one is agitated by lusty desires upon seeing a woman, those desires increase more and more. But when semen is discharged in the act of sex, the lusty desires diminish. The same principle acted upon Lord Shiva. He was allured by the beautiful woman, Mohinī-mūrti, but when his semen had been fully discharged, he came to his senses and realized how he had been victimized as soon as he saw the woman in the forest. If one is trained to protect his semen by observing celibacy, naturally he is not attracted by the beauty of a woman. If one can remain a brahmachari, he saves himself so much trouble in the material existence. Material existence means enjoying the pleasure of sexual intercourse. Yan maitunadi grihamedi sukham. If one is educated about sex life and is trained to protect his semen, he is saved from the danger of material existence. Atavagata mahatmya atmano jagadatmana aparigeya viryasya namene tar uharbhutam. Thus, Lord Shiva could understand his position and that of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who has unlimited potencies. Having reached this understanding, he was not at all surprised by the wonderful way Lord Viṣṇu had acted upon him. Purport. The Supreme Personality of Godhead is known as all-powerful because no one can excel him in any activity. In Bhagavad Gita 7:7, the Lord says, Mata nanyat kinchid asti dhananjaya. O conqueror of wealth, there is no truth superior to me. No one can equal the Lord or be greater than him, for he is the master of everyone. As stated in Chaitanya Charitamrita Adi 142, Ekale Ishvara Krishna Ara Sabhabhritya. The Supreme Personality of Godhead Krishna is the only master of everyone, including even Lord Shiva. What to speak of others? Lord Shiva was already aware of the supreme power of Lord Viṣṇu, but when he was actually put into bewilderment, he felt proud to have such an exalted master. One second, there's been so many messages. I just want to make sure it's nothing to do with that group. Okay. Let's see. Dandavat pranam Rukmini Didi. Haribol. Yes, okay. Rup Manjri, I will mute WhatsApp. Let me just quit it, actually. Yeah, it's been distracting me the whole time. Alright, where was I? Okay. Tam aviklavam avridam alaksha madhusudana uvacha parama prito bibrat swam porushim tanum. Seeing Lord Shiva unagitated and unashamed, Lord Viṣṇu, Madhusudan, was very pleased. Thus he resumed his original form and spoke as follows. Oh, and I just want to check, am I using this mic? Oops, I've been using my computer mic. Okay, now it's using this mic. Okay, so seeing Lord Shiva unagitated and unashamed, Lord Viṣṇu, Madhusudan, was very pleased, and thus he resumed his original form and spoke as follows. Purport. Although Lord Shiva was aghast at the potency of Lord Viṣṇu, he did not feel ashamed. Rather, he was proud to be defeated by Lord Viṣṇu. Nothing is hidden from the Supreme Personality of Godhead, for he is in everyone's heart. Indeed, the Lord says in Bhagavad Gita 15:15, Sarvasva chaham hridisannavishto matasmritir jnanam apohanam cha. I am seated in everyone's heart, and from me come remembrance, knowledge, and forgetfulness. Whatever happened had taken place under the direction of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and therefore there is no cause to be sorry or ashamed. Although Lord Shiva is never anyone, when defeated by Lord Viṣṇu, he felt proud that he had such an exalted and powerful master. Shri Bhagavan Uvacha Dishtya tvam vibuddha shreshta swam nishtam atmana astita yan me stri rupaya svairam mohito pyangamayaya. The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, O best of the demigods,
Although you have been amply harassed because of my potency in assuming the form of a woman, you are established in your position. Therefore, may all good fortune be upon you. Purport. Since Lord Shiva is the best of the demigods, he is the best of all devotees. Vaishnavanam yatha Shambhu. His exemplary character was therefore praised by the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who gave his benediction by saying, "May all good fortune be upon you." When a devotee becomes allowed, the Supreme Lord sometimes exhibits his supreme power to dissipate the devotee's misunderstanding. After being amply harassed by Lord Viṣṇu's potency, Lord Shiva resumed his normal, unagitated condition. This is a position of the devotee. A devotee should not be agitated under any circumstances, even in the worst reverses. As confirmed in Bhagavad Gita 6.22, Yasmin stito na dukkena guru napi vichalyate. Because of his full faith in the Supreme Personality of Godhead, a devotee is never agitated, even in the greatest trials. This pridelessness is possible only for the first-class devotees, of whom Lord Shambhu is one. Kono me titaren mayam vishaktas tvad rite puman tangstan visrijatem bhavan dustaram akritat mebi. My dear Lord Shambhu, who with this material world but you can surpass my illusory energy? People are generally attached to sense enjoyment and conquered by its influence. Indeed, the influence of material nature is very difficult for them to surmount. Purport. Of the three chief demigods, Brahma, Vishnu, and Maheshwar, all but Vishnu are under the influence of Maya. In Chaitanya Charitamrita, they are described as Mayi, which means under Maya's influence. But even though Lord Shiva associates with Maya, he is not influenced. The living entities are affected by Maya, but although Lord Shiva apparently associates with Maya, he is not affected. In other words, all living entities within this material world, except for Lord Shiva, are swayed by Maya. Lord Shiva is therefore neither Vishnu Tattva nor Jiva Tattva. He is between the two. Seyam guna mayi maya natam abhibhavishyati maya samita kalena kalarupena bhagasha. The material external energy, Maya, who cooperates with me in creation and who is manifested in the three modes of nature, will not be able to bewilder you any longer. Purport. When Lord Shiva was present, his wife Durga was also there. Durga works in cooperation with the Supreme Personality of Godhead in creating the cosmic manifestation. The Lord says in Bhagavad Gita 9.10, Maya dakshena prakriti suyate sacharacharam. The material energy, Prakriti, works under my direction, O son of Kunti, and is producing all moving and unmoving beings. Prakriti is Durga. Shrishti Stiti Pralaya Sadhana Shakti Reka Chayeva Yasya Bhuvarti Durga. The entire cosmos is created by Durga in cooperation with Lord Viṣṇu in the form of Kala, time. Sa ikshata lokan nusrija. Sa imal lokan asrijata. Oh God. Wait, is this sa imal God, I don't know how to pronounce that. I'm sorry. Sa imal. Anyways, I'm gonna save this just because it's so rare to find that. This is the version of the Vedas. Aitareya Upanishad 1.1.12. So the first two verses of Aitareya Upanishad. Maya happens to be the wife of Lord Shiva, and thus Lord Shiva is in association with Maya. But Lord Viṣṇu here assures Lord Shiva that this Maya will no longer be able to captivate him. Shri Shuka Uvacha Evam Bhagavata Rajan Shrivat Sankena Satkrita Amantriya Tang Parikramya Sagana Swalayam Yoyo. Shukadeva Goswami said, O king, having thus been praised by the Supreme Personality who bears the mark of Srivatsa on his chest, Lord Shiva circumambulated him. Then, after taking permission from him, Lord Shiva returned to his abode, Kailas, along with his associates. Purport. Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur remarks that when Lord Shiva was offering obeisances unto Lord Viṣṇu arose and embraced him. Therefore, the word Shrivatsankena is used here. The mark of Srivatsa adorns the chest, and therefore, when Lord Viṣṇu embraced Lord Shiva while being circumambulated, the Srivatsa mark touched Lord Shiva's bosom. Atmang Sambhutam Atamayam Bhavanim Bhagavan Bhava Sammatam Rishimukyanam Pritya Chashtata Bharata. O descendant of Bharat Maharaj, Lord Shiva, O descendant of Bharat Maharaj, Lord Shiva, in jubilation, then addressed his wife, Bhavani, who is accepted by all authorities as the potency of Lord Viṣṇu. Ayi vyapashyastvam jasyamayam parasya pungsa paradevataya ahankalanam rishabhom pimuhye yayavashonye kim utasvatantra. Lord Shiva said, O goddess, you have now seen the illusory energy of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is the unborn master of everyone. Although I am one of the principal expansions of his lordship, even I was illusioned by his energy. What then is to be said of others who are fully dependent on Maya? Yamang aprichastam upeta yogat samasahasranta uparatam avai sa esha shakshat purusha purano na yatra kalo vishate naveda. When I finished performing mystic yoga for 1,000 years, you asked me upon whom I was meditating. Now, here is that Supreme Person to whom time has no entrance and who the Vedas cannot understand. Purport. Eternal time enters anywhere and everywhere, but it cannot enter God. Nor can the Vedas understand the Supreme Personality of Godhead. This is an indication of the Lord's being omnipotent, omnipresent, and omniscient. Shri Shuka Uvacha Iti te bihitastata vikrama sharanga tanvana sindur nirmataneyena drita prishte mahachalaha. Shukadeva Goswami said, My dear king, the person who bore the great mountain on his back for the churning of the ocean of milk, is the same Supreme Personality of Godhead, known as Sharanga Dhandva. I have now described to you his prowess. Isn't Sharanga the name of Krishna's? Is Sharanga? Sharanga is the name who carries a Sharanga bow. That's what I thought. Yes. I remember that from Harinamamrita Vyakaran. Is it Vishnu Chapaha? Etan muhu kirtayanto nusrinvato. Etan muhu kirtayato nusrinvato. Narishyate jatu samudyama kvachit. Yad uttama shloka gunanuvarnanam. Samasta sangsara parishamapaham. The endeavor of one who constantly hears or describes this narration of the churning of the ocean of milk will never be fruitless. Indeed, chanting the glories of the Supreme Personality of Godhead is the only means to annihilate all in this material world. Asara Vishamang. No, what's the meter for this? Asara Vishayamangrim Bhavagamyam Prapanam amritam amaravaryam ashayat sindumatyam kapata yuvati vesho mohayan yasurarings tamaham upasritanam kamapuram natosmi. Assuming the form of a young woman and thus bewildered the demons, the Supreme Personality of Godhead distributed to his devotees, the demigods, the nectar produced from the churning of the ocean of milk. Unto that Supreme Personality of Godhead, who always fulfills the desires of devotees, I offer my respect obeisances. Purport. The instruction of this narration concerning the churning of the milk ocean is clearly manifested by the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Although he is equal to everyone, because of natural affection, he favors his devotees. The Lord says in Bhagavad Gita 9:29, Samoham sarvabhuteshu name deshyo stina priya ye bhajanti tumam bhaktya maite teshu chapyaham. I envy no one, nor am I partial to anyone. I am equal to all. But whoever renders service unto me in devotion is a friend, is in me, and I am also a friend to him. This partiality of the Supreme Personality of Godhead is natural. A person cares for his children not because of partiality, but in reciprocation of love. The children depend on the father's affection, and the father affectionately maintains the children. Similarly, because devotees do not know anything but the lotus feet of the Lord is always prepared to give protection to his devotees and fulfill their desires. He therefore says, Konteya pratijanihi name bhakta pranashati. O son of Kunti, declare it boldly that my devotee never perishes. Thus ends the Bhaktivedanta purport to the 8th canto, 12th chapter of the Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, entitled The Mohinī-mūrti Incarnation Bewilders Lord Shiva. Oh, cool. So tomorrow has two very, very short chapters. We'll read chapter 13 and chapter 14. And then we're going to stop for 2 days. So that's the description of future manus and the system of universal management. And then the next day, I'm leaving before Mangalarti. I'm traveling to Navadvip. And I'm going to arrive in Navadvip the next day at, I don't know, in the afternoon sometime. Maybe in the evening. So I will not be able to read for 2 days. Oh, and then the next day, the first day I'm going to be able to read is going to be Nityananda Trayodashi. So we'll read about Nityananda Prabhu that day. And then after that, I'll continue with chapter 15. Bali Maharaj conquers the heavenly planets. So that's good also that we break we're going to take a break. Well, tomorrow I'm reading, but then after that, we're going to take a 3-day break. No, just a 2-day break. Yeah, 3-day break from Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam. And then we will continue with this topic of Bali Maharaj conquering the heavenly planets, and then all about the Vamandev, executing the Payovrata process of worship. Then the Supreme Lord agrees to become Aditi's son. Then Lord Vamandev, the dwarf incarnation, Lord Vamandev begs charity from Bali Maharaj. Bali Maharaj surrenders the universe. Bali Maharaj arrested by the Lord. Bali Maharaj surrenders his life. The demigods regain the heavenly planets. And then comes Matsya, the fish incarnation. And then that's the end of the 8th canto. So, yeah. All right. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nitai Gaur, Hari Bol, Nitai Gaur, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nitai Gaur, Hari Bol. Jai Shri Shri Guru Gauranga Gandharvika Giridhari Shri Shri Radha Vinod Bihari Ju Ki Jai Shri Govinda Gopinath Maran Mohan Ju Nitila Pravishtam Vishnupad Ashta Nitila Pravishtam Vishnupad Ashtarashata Shmar Bhaktivedanta Narayan Goswami Maharaj Shri Gurudev Ki Jai Nitila Pravishtam Vishnupad Ashtarashata Shmar Bhaktivedanta Vaman Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai Nitila Pravishtam Vishnupad Ashtarashata Shmar Bhaktivedanta Swami Maharaj Shri Prabhupada Ki Jai Nitila Pravishtam Vishnupad Ashtarashata Shmar Bhakti Pragyan Keshav Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai Nitila Pravishtam Vishnupad Ashtarashata Shmar Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Prabhupada Ki Jai Nitila Pravishta Maha-Bhagavat Shila Gorksharas Babaji Maharaj Ki Jai Nitila Pravishta Shila Satchidananda Bhakti Vinod Thakur Ki Jai Nitila Pravishta Vaishnav Sarvabhauma Shila Jagannath Das Babaji Maharaj Ki Jai Shri Rupanu Gauriya Guru Varga Ki Jai Shri Rup Sanatan Bhatta Raghunath Shri Jeev Gopal Patadashagna Shara Goswami Prabhu Ki Jai Shri Sarup Damodar Rai Ramanandari Shri Gaur Parshad Vrinda Ki Jai Namachay Shila Haridas Thakur Ki Jai Prem Se Kaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhari Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai Shri Kshetra Mandala Gaura Mandala Vaja Mandala Mathura Vrindavan Dham Ki Jai Sarva Abhishta Bharata Giriraj Maharaj Ki Jai Shri Radha Kun Shama Kun Ki Jai Shri Yamuna Devi Ganga Devi Ki Jai Shri Tulsi Maharani Vrinda Devi Ki Jai Shri Bhakti Devi Ki Jai Shri Purnamasi Yoga Maya Ki Jai Shri Gopeshwar Mahadev Ki Jai Shri Harinam Sankirtan Ki Jai Shri Madhvacharya Ki Jai Tadiya Shubhatirabhav Titi Ki Jai Shri Harinam Sankirtan Ki Jai Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda Ki Jai Grantaraj Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam Ki Jai Shri Nitai Gaur Premanande Hari Hari Bo Vrindai Tulsi Devai Priyai Keshavasacha Krishna Bhakti Padadevi Sattvatai Namo Vacha Kalpataru Vyasta Kripa Sindhu Bhya Vacha Patitanam Pavane Bhyo Vaishnave Bhyo Namo Namaha. Alright, done about pranams, everybody. See you all for the next 2 chapters. Jai Nitai. Haribol, Rukmini, and Indira Mataji. I'm not going to say everybody's name. It's too many people. Haribol. See you all tomorrow. Lots of interesting comments, but I'll check them out.